and welcome to Tuning Fork, where we talk about morning devotion, a time to digest and get in tune with God's vibration.
All right. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Hello. This is Jerlyn here. I'm here with some fellow sisters, but this is our podcast that we'll be starting. And we'll introduce our whys soon. But really, we just wanted to create this platform, this podcast, to really inspire our fellow young adult community, but in our community in general, to really unite and to come together as one big family to, grow together, to learn with one another, to digest with one another, all the things that we've been hearing, especially from, or more specifically, from Dr. Young's morning devotions, right? He's been going at this for more than 120 days almost, right? And so lots to digest. And so thankfully, we're from the West Coast, and we've had the opportunity as a West Coast to host 6 a.m. morning devotions here. And we were inspired as a group to really share this joy, share this inspiration that we've been receiving and experiencing through attending these daily morning devotions. And so through this platform, we're hoping to create a space in which not just where the four of us can digest these morning devotions and inspire one another, but we really hope to share these inspirations with other people and hopefully hear insights and reflections and inspirations from others as well. So we'll talk more about that toward the end. But yes, this is our very first podcast, I guess you can say. And we hope that this bears fruit to many more beautiful things. We'll start off in also introducing ourselves. First, my name is Jerlyn Quilates. I am 23. I am from the Bay Area, California, and I'm currently a student pursuing to be a nurse practitioner. Yeah. All right. Popcorn at Julia.
Awesome. Also, it was your birthday, Jerlyn, so happy late birthday.
Thank you.
My name is Julia Chai. I'm 22 and I graduated in May 2020 from California Institute of the Arts. I studied visual arts and right now I'm just doing a lot of ceramics. So yeah. Monica.
Hello, my name is Monica Schlapper, also from I'm from Hayward, California. I'm 23 and I'm also pursuing nursing as a career. Currently, I'm taking a break from college. I'm waiting to hear back from nursing programs. So I'm working a lot, but I'm happy to be here.
Woot woot.
And popcorn to Gabby.
Hello. Yes, so my name is Gabby Von Yu. I graduated as well last year, spring or summer 2020, with a kinesiology degree. And so right now I'm currently working as a therapy aide and helping with COVID data entry for the county. So that's what I'm working on and figuring out next step moving forward. So it's exciting.
Nice. Thank you, Gabby. Thank you, guys. But yes, this is us. And yes, we will be starting off this podcast. But again, we don't want to just limit it to just us. We really want to be able to share this platform, share this opportunity to share with one another about our reflections and our inspirations about morning devotion. And so we're going to start off with our highlights. What have our highlights been thus far for morning devotion? And afterwards, we'll go through the struggles and also our personal whys as to why we're attending morning devotion. But yeah, let's go through our highlights. Anybody want to go first? And their highlights as to why, that they've experienced so far in morning devotion. If not, I can go.
I can share.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think the number one thing is comfort. Like, I like how I can listen to it from the comfort of my own home or like when I'm driving, things like that. And I don't necessarily have to wake up at 6 a.m. Or it'll be earlier on our side. But yeah, I really like how it helps me stay plugged in throughout the day, throughout my schedule, throughout the week. And yeah, I can just listen in and really be inspired. Like even when I have like a moment of free time, like choosing to just listen to it and, either having it in the background. And I really love how passionate Dr. Young is when he speaks. So like compared to like other, things that we just like listen or, hour long videos, like, yeah, his voice is very like, like charismatic. So in that way, like what he says just like sounds super powerful, at least for me when I'm listening. But yeah, I think one of my highlights is like being able to plug in despite like a busy schedule throughout the week. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I'll go. Yeah, definitely seeing Dr. Young's energy is quite something, right? And how it's his energy, like even though it's through Zoom, like you could feel it, right? You can really feel that energy and that passion and that yeah, that energy. And so what I really appreciate doing the 6 a.m. Morning devotions here on the West Coast is that we can gather together as a community and meet different people and start with gratitude, sharing our gratitude, and then concluding with takeaways. And yeah, in a normal situation, if we're going to church, maybe we're not going to be talking to that many people as we would in that morning call. So it's really nice to be able to do that and meet new people and have some meaningful conversation. And on top of that, right, receiving that powerful energy from Dr. Young. So that's been very energizing and life-giving. So.
Yeah, love that. I really has like, I feel like I'm so awake when the minute he talks, I feel like I just wake up because he's so passionate, So it's like I'm kind of sleepy, like once we're doing like pledge and stuff, but then he like talks, and then he's like longing heart, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm awake. Yeah, I totally relate. Like I love how here on the West Coast that, yeah, like people that I would never talk to, or not never talk to, like I would only just do a quick hi, like I'm actually having conversations with, like deep conversations with, we always talk about our gratitudes in the morning, and sometimes you can get a little foggy because you're like, it's really early in the morning, you can think about your gratitude super deeply sometimes, but then yeah, I remember Mrs. Deffelton, if I'm saying her name correctly. I've known her all my life, but then I finally like talked to her like for the first time ever, and it was such a beautiful thing, like hearing speaking to her and sharing with her. So anyways, I really appreciate that as well from morning devotion, just getting to speak with first gen that I've never had full conversations with. So yeah, that's my highlight as well.
I love all the points you guys shared. Definitely resonate with like plugging in and getting to know our community better. For me, highlight is I listened to morning devotion with my sister, and we kind of we support each other in waking up on time to watch it. But I think it's been a really nice bonding experience to watch it together with her. And since we are together, we share with whatever discussion group we're put in, but we're also sharing with each other. So I think it's been a really nice bonding experience. And I also really appreciate getting to know other members of our community. At first I was kind of nervous. The first time I attended, I was like, oh my gosh, we're gonna talk to like people I've seen but have never like conversated with. But it gave me like a really nice warm feeling that like, even though it's sometimes scary to do that and it's out of my comfort zone, it's gonna really bring us together more closely, connecting to different generations especially. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I relate. Honestly, I feel like Calissa and I are each other's accountability partners. Like waking up. Yeah, like I'll notice she's not down by like 5:55 and I'll text her, "Are you awake?" And she responds, she's like, "I'm coming." Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad. Honestly, I feel a lot of joy. I think especially when like the first couple I started attending for the West Coast one, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so exciting. We're gathering as a West Coast community. Yeah, love it. Yeah, so I think we could honestly go on about highlights. I think it is truly such a joy just being able to share with or meet new people, right, and share it in heart. Yeah, but I think once you keep going, sometimes challenges come up, right? I don't know, definitely personally in my in me attending thus far, since the West Coast morning devotions have started, there were definitely some times I was like, man, my eyes are not opening. Right? I don't know if anyone can relate. Yeah, feel free to ask any questions but definitely like personally for me, I would say like once that like high kind of finishes, like I was personally on this high of like, yeah, waking up at like uh 5 like 4, I think it was like 5:45, like I was like preparing myself and just like getting ready and just right, and then like it's like 5:50 and like 5:55. And then he's like this morning, yeah, anyway, it's just like uh having to like get up is honestly, I feel like such a, we use this term right in our movement of like mind over body, but it's so true, right? There are times where I personally had to be like, okay, you gotta get up, don't let Satan win. I know as extreme as that may sound, right? It's like, no, like having to tell myself, no, I want to attend morning devotion, you know? My spirit wants to attend morning devotion. But yeah, anyone experiencing any struggles with morning devotion, whether that's waking up to go for it, or waking up to attend, or just listening, or even having your mind focused. Like sometimes I'll play it while during my morning or during my commute to work, and like by the end of my work or end of my commute or my drive, I'm like, wait, what were his points? But anyways, yeah, if anyone wants to touch upon those points or any personal struggles they've experienced as well, or kind of, I don't know, we like to use the word fallen nature.
Yeah. You definitely pointed out a lot of the struggles I faced as well, like waking up early. I struggled so much because after winter break, my sleeping schedule was so off. Really grateful that they created a West Coast one that we could join at 6 a.m. And I knew it'd be a struggle for me, but once again, having my sister or someone accountable that could keep me up. And I'm sure like even if I didn't have her, like it would be good to reach out to someone else in our community that you guys can keep each other accountable, text each other. Something that helps me is I like to drink a cup of tea while I'm watching it. It makes me feel like I can be more present because the tea is waking me up and keeping me warm. So that's something that's helped with the waking up on time struggle. Another struggle I had was, being able to capture what points stood out to me. So one thing that I've really been working on is trying to take a few notes of points and takeaways that I can apply to my day. And I mean, it's definitely a struggle. But I found this habit of trying to attend consistently and doing my best to like really take something from morning devotion that I can apply to my day has been more beneficial than the challenges. So yes, pros outweigh the cons. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Gabby or Julia?
Yeah, I I actually feel kind of embarrassed because like even though we're starting this podcast, like I haven't attended like a live session. I've always just listened to like the recordings. So when you guys all said your highlights was like the the talking to the people, because you see like the part where there's like people get called on, right? To share. Yeah, so maybe I should like try waking up at 6 a.m. and plugging in. But I think, Monica, you touched upon it. I think consistency is something that like I struggle with, like trying to listen to them every single day. And then also finding a time where, yeah, I'm like present with it. It's not just this like, white noise. I don't want it to be white noise when it's really like, there's really valuable things being talked about. Yeah, and I should try the taking notes thing, or like really prioritizing like my own time to like focus and like feed myself this kind of like spiritual food, like it's that's a priority that I should be making, and a habit that I should be making, and now that I've said it out loud on this podcast, I hope I'll make it come true. But yeah, those are a few of my struggles.
Yeah, put it out there. Yes. Don't hide it under the rug. How about you, Gabby?
Yeah, well, a lot of what's being said, I can definitely resonate with that struggle and all of that. I think when it first began, right, it originally was at 3 a.m. and I was like, I'm not gonna wake up at 3 a.m. to watch it live, right? So I was like, no, that's too early. But then and then I would like listen to it here and there, and it's kind of hard to, I think, yeah, get into it, especially in the beginning. But then when we began the morning 6 a.m. and I think just with this new year and new determination and resolutions of really wanting to, yeah, put God first and really renew myself and really renew my spirit. So with that determination, I started listening to it more consistently, and like what was being said.
You might have to say your point again, Gabby. It
Oh
definitely cut
no.
you out. No, but yeah,
Yeah.
you're saying how you definitely could relate to the points that have been made like this far.
Right. Yeah. That both like Monica and Julia, you were saying, and how yeah, consistency is so important, because like in the beginning of listening to it, it's hard to connect to or to get into, or to sometimes, yeah, understand, or how do I practice that? How do I connect to that goal, that or that image that seems sometimes a little bit too far, right? I think something that Reverend Thompson said one time is like, what is one thing that we can do, like one small step, right? So it's steps moving forward. So yeah, the more I've been attending, the more life-giving it has been, and it gets me up in the morning, like to wake up 6 a.m. It's a wonderful start to the day, and I have my cat joining in. She comes, sits with me, and watches the devotion. So it's a wonderful start to the day. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I think what you both, Monica and Gabby, you guys touched upon of like consistency, right? I feel like yeah, personally, like the struggle is not just like showing up, I guess, not just showing up in terms of like attending or like listening to the recording, as it's like is the consistency of heart, like am I like fully is my heart really like attentive or fully awake or listening when I'm listening to Dr. Young's words. But yeah, anyways, it's a struggle even just applying it, right? I don't know if anyone can relate, just even like this simple like application. Like it's one thing to listen and be like, oh, I feel so inspired, or like, oh, I really like that point. I was like, ooh, and then we hear Heavenly Honey, Mrs. Honey, read the quote, right, our two parents' words. I'm like, ooh, that's a good quote, right? But I feel like another struggle is, how can I apply this or make this like real? I feel like there were many days where I was like, yeah, I'm like inspired in the morning, and then like I go about my day, and at the end of it, I'm like, I don't think I've really practiced. And the fact that I asked it myself that, it's like I didn't really, practice it. So I guess like for me, honestly, it's just like uh applying morning devotion into my life, like in a, I don't want to say practical manner, but like being very clear in how I'm going to be applying it in my daily life, or in that sense. So anyways, I think, yeah, I don't know if anyone can relate with that point. Yeah.
Like, oh, were you gonna say something, Monica?
Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh yeah, like I guess like being intentional, right?
Yeah. Being intentional with listening, or even throughout our day. Yeah. Or keep the intention of like, or the heart, right? Yeah. Because I feel like his like everything you say, I always feel like, oh my gosh, it's so true, it's so true. And then I'm like, dang, like how am I gonna apply it? I think that's what I'm gonna personally do, like in my breakout rooms, is like share my action step, or share like how I'm personally gonna like apply it to my day. Because then it's like right afterwards, literally what happens is like my sister and I like, oh yeah, that's good, and then we just talk, and then she goes on and does her GPA thing, and I go do my day and homework and work stuff, and then it's really easy to kind of just like go about your day from there, right? And kind of check it off your list and be like, okay, I listened to morning devotion today. Yeah. Anyways, has anyone like tried or been really like successful in their attempt in applying morning devotion throughout their day, or even in a small way? And no worries if not, we're all learning here.
I remember there was one point, just backtracking a little bit to like challenges. I remember when morning devotion first started, my parents both had two very different responses to morning devotion. And so my mom was super into it. My mom was like Filipino, like very, kind of like very religious, and is very open to receiving everything God's word. And my dad is a little bit different in his way of receiving, like still very loves God, loves his two parents, but has a different way of taking things in. And I think because of that, it was harder in some ways for my dad to like feel connected to morning devotion. So I think that's also a point that is really important for each of us, is like, how do we connect? And even though sometimes it seems like really a high standard that Reverend Young is sharing with us. Going back to what Gabby said too, like what Gabby said, that Reverend's about just starting off with small steps. That's been really good for me. Is when I take notes, or when I try to find those things that really stick out to me. For instance, there was one morning devotion where he just talked about like, if you love God, then you will do your best to like love other people. And I was like, yeah, that was such a good point for me, because right now I'm in the zone and I work with people, specifically like in person, and it was hard for me to, I was getting into like, just keeping that small one thing, one focus. And
Yeah. Hi, Gabby. Yeah. No, but yeah, that 7-minute period. I remember like just taking that 7 minutes like right before I like park into their parking structure, and be like, or structure, and being, okay, God, I'm gonna offer up this shift to you, because like I'm having such a hard time, but I really want to see you through. Yeah, I want to see this family through your eyes. And I remember that shift was difficult. Like it was actually hard. Yeah, the girl, she has autism, and she just was like not listening, like dropping on the floor. But I think, through setting that determination and like that prayer at the beginning, like I felt pretty headstrong, I'm being like, okay, like, I'm gonna do this and like help her. And yeah, anyways, reflecting upon that, anyways, it is a struggle. Even just applying it in like intentionally every single minute of the day. It's like, yeah, I was able to successfully do that like maybe in that moment of my shift, but like how about the whole entire time? But I like, again, what your point earlier of like what Reverend Thompson said, it's like, you know, improving each and every single day, you know. Yeah. Anyone else have any points on that?
I guess just one thing that like Dr. Young always talks about, or like even in the beginning, we talk about gratitude, right? And even on that point of gratitude, it is sometimes so hard to find or just like be grateful at the moment, or like in like I'm like working or doing something, and it's just like, yeah, it's honestly sometimes hard to be grateful and like to make that switch, make that change. But then when I'm able to, then it completely, right, it changes my whole attitude and outlook and intention and everything. So it's yeah, practicing gratitude is it's a most simple, right, simple yet so important and to do, and or challenging as well, right? But it's been really helpful to do.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. If we and no one else, Julie, do you want to say anything?
I think you guys are making me realize like even more like the power in morning devotion. Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool because like I think for me like I started to listen to it because like it just seemed like the thing to do because everyone was talking about it, you know, I'm like, oh, as you know, it felt like, yeah, I was supposed to be doing it. And I didn't really have like a clear intention or why that like that I set up. Like I sat down and I thought about it. It was just like something I did, you know, thinking that I had to do it. But I'm really glad that we are having this time to like talk about this and also just like, yeah, hear other people's like how they're digesting it. And then also like I'm like setting this time for me to think about it because yeah, it's actually really valuable and like what morning devotion is like, you know, giving us and helping us like kind of despite like us being like so far apart and not seeing each other in person, like we're still able to like connect in such a powerful way and like yeah, I think that's just really cool to like know that wow, there's a lot of people who wake up at 6 a.m. who like have watched this, who are like tuning in and you know, it feels like I'm part of a bigger community than like what would what was already big, you know. um yeah, and I think for me it's a yeah, I'll just stop there. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, so I think we can all agree, you know, and going off what you were saying, like it is a beautiful thing, morning devotion, right? But there with it comes like struggles and the reality of our lives sometimes, you know. Yeah, but I think in our hearts and our conscience knows that it it is a worthwhile thing to attend morning devotion, to listen, to be present when listening, right? So yeah, I think going with that, then we can hit our final point of like, you know, why do each of us choose to, or we can even just share our purpose or our goals, right? As to why we want to, or why we choose to listen to morning devotion and why we will continue to listen and attend morning devotion. So I think for me personally, I think the same thing kind of what Julia said, right? It's like, yeah, hundoke is good for you. Listening to morning devotion is good for you. But I think, you know, we've been talking a lot about like 심정, like heart, or like right 정성, right? And then yeah, and I remember thinking like, man, what is my why? And honestly, for me personally, I think it's several things. Like I feel like one, I'm connecting to that community that Julia was talking about. Like I'm really like not just like recognizing that I'm part of a big community, but like I genuinely feel like we're connecting in heart. Yeah, I feel like that's like one of the biggest things. And even if I'm listening to the recorded ones from the East Coast, like I get so happy seeing like other people like talking about their inspirations or their gratitude points, or even like the entertainments like that are being recorded or like or that are posted, like just seeing that just brings me joy as well. And so, but then also, you know, that I feel like this is how like I can inherit like this heart of understanding true parents as like my parents. Like personally, that's like something I'm still, you know, working on, is like really feeling like true parents are my personal parents. Like even today is true parents' birthday, right? And I'm like it was more so just like, oh, okay, it's true parents' birthday, like another church holiday. But like no, you know what I mean? When it's your parents' birthday, like you get them a cake, you get them a you make them a card, you sing them a song, you know. And so I think for me, yeah, morning devotion is my personal goal, right? Is like to work on my relationship with true parents. And um yeah, and I feel like Dr. Young is just so like is truly setting the standard. And even he's like so humble, saying like, I'm like not, I'm so far, right? He says like when he's talking about his relationship with true parents, like he still wants to really, or he honestly sets the standard high, but you know, it's like I'm grateful that he's setting a standard in which we can learn from and follow. So yeah, and of course feeding that spirit. So yes. Anyone see that meme? There's like a meme of like Dr. Young, like uh, it's his face, but then it's like him as a chef. He's like and the caption is Dr. Young like feeding us preparing spiritual food for us every morning. Anyways. But yeah, anyone want to go next? How about you, Gabby?
Yeah, so my why. I think I kind of touched it briefly actually earlier without realizing. But I think for this year, my when it came to the end of last year and the beginning of this year and making like New Year's resolutions and everything, I really took time to reflect where I'm at with my own spiritual life and where I want to be and all of that. And just really seeing how I think, yeah, Dr. Young said one time, right, about talking about putting God first. And like when he mentioned that, I think that was like very clear for me, like I need to make more effort in putting God first. And like as I was talking to my dad, he was saying, yeah, a good step is doing morning devotion. And that's like a good condition to start. And even like as well, like thinking about like with the matching and blessing and preparing for that, that's a good condition. And so that's a big reason of my why doing morning devotion, is making that that condition and putting God first in the morning. And as well, I guess I didn't realize in the beginning about the community aspect, right? I think Geraldine, you touched upon that. But the more that I've been joining, I see like that community aspect is really as well like a big why, right? Being able to connect with people, and because we're at home like the whole day, right? And we're not really, we don't get to see many people or that interaction, right? I think really craving that right, that interaction and heart to heart. And even through Zoom, it's like it's amazing how much heart you could still feel, right? And that's that connectiveness, right? But yeah, I think mainly a big reason is really putting God first. So yeah.
Love it. Yeah. Julia,
Yeah. I can relate a lot to what Gabby said, especially about New Year's resolutions. One of my resolutions for this year, especially this semester, was to strengthen myself up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Yeah, this semester I don't have school, and I really felt like I have such an opportunity. I have so much space in my mind to get back to things that are important to me, such as my life of faith and habits that I know are nourishing me as an individual and me as a child of God and true parents. So yeah, I was really grateful that like around the time of developing that kind of goal for myself morning devotion came as an opportunity. And I also saw it first as like, okay, everyone's doing it and everyone keeps saying it's so good, so I guess I'll just listen to it. And then people were like saying, you should start listening to it in the morning when we're doing it as a community. I was like, okay, I'll do that too. So at first it was definitely out of like maybe a little bit obligation, a little bit like everyone else is doing it. So I think it's good, and in time everyone will find your own why and your own reasoning for doing it. But I definitely feel like it's been a good step for me to start off each day. Handoke and receiving God's word was always important to me, but it was hard for me to keep it as a habit. So I feel like having this consistently available every morning, and having people there and having Reverend Yang to help us digest True Parents' word has been really beneficial for me in strengthening myself. Waking up is strengthening me physically. Being with the community is helping me emotionally. So there's a lot of ways that I know it's benefiting me where I am specifically in life right now. But I think it's definitely up to each of us to find out our why. So yeah.
I really like what you said about like strengthening just like your whole, like all aspects of you. Like I think that's definitely something that I began thinking about after I graduated, because you have so much time, on your hands. Like you don't have school, and it was hard. Like I don't work, so I had a lot of time to like just think about, okay, what are my next steps, and like how can I be preparing myself for the future, with like all different things like career, matching and blessing. And I feel like being able to, the fact that it's provided for us, and every single day, like, being able to plug into it. And then as you guys were talking, I was also thinking about how like all like we're able to like connect to all generations, and I feel like that's kind of what makes me feel like so connected to the community. Because if it wasn't for morning devotion, I would have been just like, talking to my peer group and engaging with them. But that's another highlight. But I think overall I feel like I'm listening consistently because I want to be like strengthening myself. And I really do believe in the idea that like all of us are, in this world for a specific reason. Like we're here to leave some sort of small impact. And if being able to tune into morning devotion will help like shape me into who I need to be and will become, I think, that's something that I should definitely prioritize and continue doing if I feel, so.
Yeah, love it. Ooh, and now we have each other to keep accountable, huh? Yeah, thank you guys. So yes, I think we can move forward in terms of our podcast, coming at our 40-minute mark here. But again, I think there are many amazing things to morning devotion, but I think it's really through sharing with one another, through making it real and personal in our lives, is really how we can honestly, I know we use this term a lot, bear fruit, but really make it real in our lives, and take everything that Dr. Young is giving and sharing it with other people and making it real. And I feel like that will make not just him happy, and like of course it'll make God happy, but we can also feel and experience joy from that. So anyways, thank you guys for being on this episode, this very first podcast. And for those who are listening, just thank you for making it to this point, and for taking the time to hear our personal reasons for attending morning devotion. And again, no guilt or shame to those who haven't even listened to a single episode. Just the fact that you would listen to this and were curious, and that's saying something too. But I hope this encourages anyone out there who hasn't listened before, or has kind of struggled, even if they listened a little bit, to morning devotion, that, it can be a great thing. And it's really a beautiful opportunity to be together as a community, to learn from generations of all kinds, and to learn from one another. And so we really, us sisters, just want to start this podcast to create a platform in which we can really share with one another deeply about morning devotion, and to be honestly, to be really honest, and to be able to digest what we're learning, what we're experiencing in our lives with these morning devotions. And so, thank you for those who are listening. Thank you guys for being on. So, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, and last thing, and to more episodes, we just wanted to say this last thing, that again, this is open to anyone. We will be in the future, in future podcasts and episodes, we will be reaching out to other people, and if you feel inspired or feel this need, or if there's a topic or something about morning devotion you would like us to talk about, or that you feel personally called to talk about with us here, please let us know. But thank you.
Or if you want to be a host.
Heck yeah. All right. Sounds good. Episode 1 done. Thank you, guys.
Special thanks to Naomi Sharf and Faith Huang for creating our jingle. If you'd like, you can tune in to Morning Devotion with the links in our bio and hopefully be a guest on our podcast.
Thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you on our next episode of Tuning Fork.
This was Julia,
Gabby,
Monica, and Geraldine tuning out.